I think the thing that struck me the most was this whole question of the disadvantages that disadvantaged families and kids have, how early that takes hold, and how difficult it is to remediate or change over time. Really, the way we've done things and the things that we've measured and tried to focus on in schools and in society really just perpetuate the gaps instead of finding ways to give people a more fair shake at life.
To foster the skills of American children, we have to help troubled American families. Politicians and scholars of public policy need to understand that the base of skills needed for success are largely formed, and most successfully formed, if they are formed, before children even enter school. The gaps between the haves and the have-nots open up early and persist. I think it's very important to understand that schools do very little to enlarge or narrow these gaps in American society. The gaps are already very wide by the time children are age 3. But the other thing to notice about this figure is that this gap doesn't get any wider or any narrower when people go to school. So we can't look to the schools solely, or certainly even mainly, to try to solve these achievement test gaps. Schools can certainly help, but the point is that we see, just in its natural setting, schools are not doing much to remove or reduce or increase these gaps. So there's a strategy here, and the strategy is basically to think about investing as a way of preventing problems, and in fact putting it not in a negative way, but building the skill base that creates the productivity. So the logic of the plan is prevention, or really better yet, investment in the skill base, not remediation. Most American policy is still today thinking about remediation, whether it's in health, whether it's in crime, whether it's in schooling. We think, well, the kid's fallen behind. We think of something when the kid's in the adolescent years. We try to patch the problem after it's emerged. The approach that I think is most productive and addresses these problems in a unified way is basically one that is one of pre-distribution, where early, before life begins, or before school life begins, and in the early years, we think about building a skill base that'll percolate through the life cycle. This is a dynamic process. It's not that just we're patching the kid at age 18 or at age 7 or whatever. We're making the skills that make it possible to develop more skills. So it's not just remediation, it's truly building children, successful children.